Welcome to our time together. Today I'd like to respond to a comment that someone posted on one of my devotions from a couple of months ago. This was a devotion that I wrote just after the Roman Catholics selected their new pope. And in it, I expressed my hope that the pope would become a leader not just for Roman Catholics, but for all Christians. Well, the person who posted this comment took issue with what I had to say, and in part the comment reads, "Much of American churchianity is so incredibly watered down by ecumenism that it's largely unrecognizable and incompatible with biblical Christianity." In other words, I believe what this person means to say is that when we seek to find common ground with people of other faith traditions, both within and outside of Christianity, we must give up what matters most in our faith and give up so much that our faith isn't even recognizable anymore. In response, I'd like to say that there are at least three ways that we can interact with other faith traditions: with tolerance, with fear, and with confidence. Let's start with tolerance, which is the approach that the person who wrote this comment apparently was speaking against. Approaching other faith traditions out of tolerance means that we have a desire to get along, and out of that desire, we focus on what our faiths have in common with each other. A tolerant approach to other faiths is something that would say, well, we're all basically the same. And if you approach interfaith relations this way, well, the person who posted the comment could be right. You end up watering down not only your own faith, but the faith of other people until you reach a point that you have abandoned the core principles of what you believe and only focus on what everyone has in common. A second approach to interfaith relationships is fear. Fiercely guard and protect what you believe. Consider anything that is different from your faith as a danger or a threat. And instead of seeking ways to see how our faiths are similar, focus instead on what makes us different, what makes me right and what makes you wrong. A fear approach to interfaith conversations means that we're saying, I have the truth. Everyone else is wrong, and we cannot let them undermine us. So let's circle up the wagons and only let people in who believe what we believe. I'd like to suggest a third option. Not to approach other faith traditions with tolerance, at least the way I described it, and not to approach them with fear, but instead to approach other faiths with confidence. This means, first of all, you may remain well grounded in what you believe. There's no need to water it down. There's no reason to weaken it. But there's also no reason to fear that it is under attack or you might lose it. You stand confidently in the faith that you have. And then you are able to consider what other faith traditions have to offer. And you can approach them with curiosity rather than with suspicion. You can learn about what other faiths have to say, not to find merely common elements you can agree on, but to appreciate their take on spirituality in its own light. Now, as I said, this requires confidence. You start from a solid foundation of your faith and then move out to discover what else is out there. And who knows? You might learn something that will help you live out and appreciate your own faith more fully. This all depends on how you view truth. Is truth merely the basic common denominator that all religions share? Well, if that's what truth is, then get rid of everything that you don't agree on. Is truth something that you must protect, that you have to make sure doesn't get watered down or lost? Or do you trust the truth to be true? Do you trust that truth will prevail? As Jesus once said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So if what you already believe is the truth, well, then you can trust that it will prevail, that it will be a source of freedom. Truth is powerful. You don't need to protect it or shield it. And if in the process, if for some reason, if you discover that part of what you believe isn't the truth, well, why in the world would you want to hold on to it? Just because that's where you started from? Are you confident enough in your faith to allow it to adapt and grow? Not to lose its core principles, but so that it can become even more true for you. This requires openness, an openness to seek truth above preserving what you already hold on to. Now, from my own personal experience, I have discovered truths that might challenge my initial beliefs. But this has led me not to abandon them or not to water them down, but to understand what I believe in a new way, and I would say in a deeper and richer way. I've discovered truths that have helped me grow and expand my faith. And again, not to abandon where I started from, but to allow my faith to become richer and deeper. So we have a choice. Is truth something you just get rid of to get along with everyone else? Is truth something you have to cling to and guard? Or does truth beckon you to step forward, to learn and to grow even more about what is true? Would you pray with me, please? Lord, above all, help us to seek your truth. Give us a humility to recognize that where we start from might not be the entire truth, but that there may be more out there for us to learn. Protect us, Lord, from an unhealthy tolerance of other faiths, which would lead us to abandon what we believe. But protect us also from an unhealthy suspicion of other faith traditions that prevents us from trying to learn about them and understand them. Help us recognize that your truth, God, sets us free. So help us to learn it and grow in it and experience it more and more. Amen. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk again later.